Hello, my name is James Mulligan. I am a product manager within QuantumBlack. This is the third in a series of episodes where we will be discussing how we have approached the codification of our ways of working, how we have driven their adoption at scale across our organization, and the benefits we are ultimately now reaping due to consistent ways of working on all our projects. In this third episode, we will be talking about how we have driven adoption of the protocol and the 5i framework at scale across our organization, and the actions we have taken to make that a reality in the past few years. Establishing a standardized way of working across an organization like QuantumBlack isn't something that happens overnight. In fact, an initiative of this scale is absolutely a marathon rather than a sprint. Fortunately for us, our parent company McKinsey have written the playbook on how to think about influencing change at scale and how to drive successful transformations. There are 4 key actions that are critical for an organization to make an initiative like this successful. So action 1, foster understanding and conviction. As an employee, I understand what is being asked of me and it makes sense. So when we kickstarted this initiative, we created comms to foster this understanding amongst the organization, to clarify the vision and how we would realize it together. The following is a snippet of a film we created for the company town hall in 2017 to jumpstart the initiative and to motivate and inspire their engagement. At the time, the initiative was codenamed QB1. The second critical action in McKinsey's influence model is role modeling. So as an employee, I see my leaders, colleagues, and staff behaving differently. So alongside creating communications for the town hall and the rest of the organization, we also asked our leadership to create change stories, communications that we could share to demonstrate that they believed in the initiative, that they were driving it, and they saw value in it for the rest of the organization. The following is a clip from a film we created with our COO and one of our co-founders at the time, demonstrating their investment in the initiative and encouraging involvement from our colleagues.
So QB1 is really a distillation of 10 years worth of scar tissue at QuantumBlack, from trying to deliver data science, analytics and design in the wild to help large organizations transform their performance.
The protocol is the combination of pulling together the process and the very specific steps that we have in that process. The people skills, pulling very distinct skills from the different domains, the different guilds that we have, and of course the technology assets that we need to use to inform what we do. Pulling those 3 things together allow us to create a protocol that we can actually repeat consistently time and time again, both for ourselves and for our clients.
In terms of codifying a methodology, I almost like to think of it the opposite way around. Like, what does the world look like when we don't codify a methodology? We have hundreds of people, all with their own way of doing things, and that creates chaos, it creates risk, it reduces the enjoyment our teams have in how they work, it reduces the impact we have with clients. Whereas when we think about how can we centralize the learning from all of those hundreds of people, from all of the projects that we do, both ourselves and from the wider firm, and establish what is a series of best practices, and then use that to drive onboarding, to drive training, to drive scale. That means that we reduce risk, it means that our teams and our clients have a better time, and it means that we have more impact.
The third critical action is developing the talent and skills necessary for the transformation to be a success. So as an employee, I have the skills and opportunities to behave in the new way that's being asked of me by leadership. Before any of our practitioners put pen to paper to codify best practices, we taught our teams how to run learning ceremonies, such as retrospectives and project postmortems. Although this was originally governed top-down to begin with, our departments now systematically run these learning ceremonies at the end of every project to share their experiences with their peers, and we can glean pain points and learnings from these learning ceremonies to determine how our protocols should evolve over time. The fourth and final action is the introduction of reinforcing formal mechanisms. As an employee, I see that our structures, processes, and systems support the changes I'm being asked to make. For example, we updated our employee review criteria to reward contribution to the initiative, and we introduced formal training during onboarding and made it accessible to the rest of the organization. But arguably the most effective driver for adoption at scale was the operationalization of best practices into the technology used by our teams. Here you can see an example of a team using Studio, technology we've built internally to capture meta-information about a data source. The tool ensures teams ask the relevant questions for us to determine whether it can be used for advanced analytics. By using the tool, they can automatically generate visualizations to help communications with the organization and stakeholders. This visualization details the progress of data ingestion and any blockers preventing us from accessing or using data that might be key to our analysis. This landscape view is automatically generated from the data dictionaries to provide an easy-to-read view for stakeholders, clarifying what data we'll be using for the use case and highlighting where quality issues might be preventing us from delivering the maximum possible impact. Because this technology provides a tangible benefit to the teams, they choose to use it without top-down governance. And because their best practices are embedded into the technology, we can be confident our teams are adopting those practices at scale. In the next episode, we will be elaborating on this concept of enabling processes with technology and providing more examples of how we've leveraged this principle to further drive adoption of best practices at scale across our organization.